Hey guys, and welcome back to the video. If you came here today to watch me working on the car or just to know a little bit more about the rust restoration, unfortunately this episode won't be about any of those things, and if you read the titles you already figured that something happened to the car, and I think this is one of the worst nightmares of any car enthusiast or just any person in general, I suppose, because 2 weeks ago while I was working on the Z, it caught fire. How it happened and why it happened, I will try to go in this video and explain what I was doing and how I could have probably avoided it or minimized the damage to the car, to the shop. Well, I call it a shop, but technically it's just a garage attached to my house. That's why it was even scarier. And yeah, just a small warning for all the car enthusiasts, DIY people: if you work from your home, just get insurance. Thankfully, everything was insured. But again, just be sure that you have an insurance that it covers as much as possible, because my car wasn't covered. And just be safe, be cautious, just take extra measures, take your time to be sure that everything is safe, double checked, triple checked, because the experience that I've had is, well, it wasn't a pleasant one, and I scared myself, my wife, my dog, my neighbors, and I really feel bad about that. I'm not that worried. Well, I am upset about losing the car, but I am more upset about putting anyone in danger or in possible danger, and it's just killing me. Even thinking about what could have happened, just very stressful and sad. So just be sure that whatever you do it safely and consider the worst outcome possible before you start. So in this case, you'll be prepared and ready to act accordingly. So out of the way, I don't want to patronize anyone. I know that there are lots of people who've been doing DIY stuff or just car stuff in their garage for ages and nothing happened. And it's great. I've been working on cars since I was 16, and again, nothing bad had happened until 2 weeks ago. So without further ado, what actually happened? So I was working on the car. If you watch my previous channel video, I made several touch panels, and basically I was welding them on the car. And before you jump to any conclusions, I did remove the battery, I did remove the fuel tank, I drained all the fuel, I stored the fuel in a separate room, so it was kind of safe. The car was mostly stripped. The only thing that was still inside the car was the interior, which actually received the most of the damage. And so I'm just trying to reconstruct everything from my memory and be as detailed as possible for you guys, so you know that things like that might happen and how possibly avoid them. So first, I had my seats in the car simply because I didn't have much room in the garage just to have them around, so I left them in the car. The car was in the car, inside the car, but I pulled it away, quite far away from the area where I was working on, and I cleaned up pretty much, well, back then I thought all the sound deadening, you know, the factory one that looks like really gooey, sticky stuff. It's like looks like mastic, and apparently I didn't clean it all. Probably there was something left, and while I was welding under the car, so I was welding the floor panel close to the bulkhead that separates the fuel tank from the cabin. And again, I was being extra careful, and I was sort of like spot welding. I took my time, and I think it took me like at least 2 hours to weld 2 panels of like this size. So I was being extra careful, was taking my time to be sure that the panels do cool down and I'm not putting a lot of heat in it. But apparently when I was joining the dots, so just bear in mind I kept the gap to a minimum, so I think between each dot I had around maybe 10 millimeters. So I was welding, I was trying to gap the gap between those spot welds, and I think when I was nearly done, and it was 1 or 2 the last seams that I did, and I was just lying under the car and taking my time to assess everything. This is where I heard, and yeah, bear in mind, I didn't see any flames, no smoke, no nothing, and this is one of the reasons why it got quite so far, because I was by myself. There was no one in the garage who could have spotted it in time. So imagine you under the car alone in the garage. It was raining that day outside, so I had my garage door open, just not fully, but like about this, just to have some fresh air going. And yeah, there was no obvious sign of fire. The only thing that I've heard was a noise, like sort of like heavy rain kind of noise, and I was, that's just weird. It's just bear in mind, like I'm under the car, you feel like rain. It rains in your garage, so you can hear like sort of drops of water coming down on your car, and you know that there is no water. So I got out of the car, and this is where I saw that one of the seats was on fire, and I just rushed out of the garage. I closed the doors, I cut the power to the garage. I basically tried to cut oxygen, air to coming into the garage, so I shut all the doors, garage door, everything, just to be sure that if I want to get that fuel it needs to burn. And I rushed to my back door to grab the garden hose, because I don't have water in my garage. So I went outside, I grabbed the hose, I went back in trying to put it out, but it was pitch black. The hose was a little bit too short, and there was not enough water pressure to get to the car. And to be honest, by the time it was too late, and I think technically you shouldn't go back in the enclosed space where it's a lot of smoke. I went in, I wasn't breathing. I soaked my t-shirt in water just to put it on my face to protect from smoke and stuff, but it was quite toxic, so technically don't make the same mistake. So just close your if it happens, close your garage or whatever, just to cut the oxygen. So I went a couple of times back, hoping that I could put it out, but before I did, I raced in the house. I said my wife to call the fire brigade and to leave the house immediately. and only after that I went to the back door and grabbed the photo hose. So she grabbed the dog, she rushed out of the house, she called the fire brigade, which they came super quickly. Absolutely awesome guys. I can't thank them enough. They were super professional. They came, I think, within like 10 minutes. And yeah, really grateful for every person that was that day around me. The ambulance came quickly. They actually took me to the hospital just to be sure that I didn't inhale a lot of smoke, that I don't have any internal burns and anything like that, because apparently it's quite dangerous when, even if you feel fine, you might have some internal damage to your lungs or anything like that. So what I was told in the hospital, even if you're fine, like within the next 3 or 4 hours, those burns will swell and basically block your windpipe and you'll die. And I spent the rest of the day in the hospital. I was discharged around 10. Again, massive thanks to every staff member of the Edinburgh's hospital. Absolutely amazing people, great care. And yeah, thankfully I was fine. They ran a bunch of tests. They took my blood, they did the x-ray. So everything was fine, no damage to me. Yeah, then, well, the next day I went back to the house, my wife and I, and we just had a look around, yeah, just to be clear, there wasn't like open fire, the fire didn't go anywhere but the car, and even the car, as you see, it like, yes, it it burned to a crisp inside. Everything inside got melted, all the plastics, everything, but the fire didn't spread because it was greatly contained, so it's mostly just the smoke damage. Everything in the garage is covered in soot, and well, the house also has lots of soot everywhere. And yeah, the car is gone. The house and the garage has suffered a little, but it's very sort of minimum as it I think could be in a fire. So I guess we got lucky with that. And as I said, we have everything insured. House-wise, the car was off the road, so I didn't have insurance on it. Even if I had, I don't think, because I was working on it, I seriously don't know what car insurance covers in this situation, so don't quote me on that. But yeah, so nothing is, I don't know. Anyway, I've been talking too much, I think, but basically the house is fine. We're living now in the house. The garage is fine. The car, I gave it away to one of the viewers. Jay, your top guy, thanks for coming and taking it away. I gave it away for free. Basically the engine, the gearbox, the front of the car, none of it was damaged. It's still salvageable, and yeah, you can. Well, I don't know what he's gonna do with that. Probably he'll break it, or he'll use some of it for his own project, because he also has a Z that he's pretty much doing the same stuff that I was doing, and if he can salvage anything or even get some money out of it, that would be great. As for me, I'm still going through the insurance stuff. The house, nothing has been cleaned properly yet. We did clean it up ourselves, but the garage is still a mess, and I can't work on it. Some of the tools, I don't know if they were damaged by the fire or water, so some of it will have to be replaced. The garage has to be redone completely, and yeah, I don't know when I'll be working on the cars again. I'm not saying that I'm closing down the channel. I will be working on the cars. I might rent a unit or something. I don't know yet, but clearly I won't be fabricating a lot of stuff in the garage, not anytime soon. Probably I'll just do some mechanical work, some relatively easy stuff that isn't that dangerous to anyone else, except me maybe, but I can live with that. Yeah, the plans for the cars, I don't know, I still have quite a lot of parts from my Z, and I bought some tuning bits. Probably it's gonna be another Z, but to be fair, I don't feel like working on Rust anytime soon. It's not that I don't want to, just it's such a tedious work. It takes a lot of time and effort, and as you can see, it can be quite dangerous. And you might say, yeah, you're not a professional, you didn't know what you were doing. To a degree, I do agree with you. You can write anything, and believe me, I'm feeling bad as is. And but it was a DIY project. It was my personal car, and I wasn't doing it as a trade. And I would have never touched anyone's car, to be honest, because it's another degree of responsibility. I can fuck up my own car, but I will never touch anyone's car ever. So yeah, even my videos, I always say, like, do it at your own discretion and be careful. Think about safety first, and if you're not sure about what you're doing, don't do it. Yeah, so the car project, I will definitely gonna get something else. Depends on the budget that I'll have after all the renovation and all this stuff. Yeah, ideally I'd love to get probably another 350Z, and actually start driving, because I bought Zoe as a project that I would fix quickly and will start driving, because I have very little drifting experience, and this was the goal. It kind of like got out of hand, and one thing led to another, and I'm like, you know, if you watch this and you work on cars, you know, like, oh, you open one thing and yeah, while I'm there, I'm just gonna replace it, and then it just gets so deep. You're like, oh, it's been 6 months, my car is on axle stands on the driveway, and I don't know when it's gonna be done. So before the fire happened, I've been thinking about buying an Impreza and do it rear-wheel drive conversion. I thought that would have been a cool, fun project with a lot of DIY stuff. I found that there is a company in the US, they do so like a conversion kit for the rear to put the diff from a 350Z with the axles, well, with the drive shaft and all that stuff. But now it just feels like too much fabrication, and I don't feel like welding at home anytime soon. I mean, especially on the car. And I'm not sure if my welder is still fine. It looks okay from the outside, but as I said, I don't feel comfortable. It's not even if it was like completely safe and all that stuff. It's just like, yeah, I don't know. I need some time to just not do anything very complicated. So I don't know, maybe it's gonna be an MX-5, probably I'll buy an NC because I had a Mark 1, Mark 2's fine, but the problem is that they're all kind of rusty, and NC is an underdog, but I don't know, I kind of like an NC, and making a drift NC probably turbo project, maybe, I don't know. It would have been fun, to be honest. But yeah, Z sounds, at least right now, it feels like the most logical way if I want to just drive it. Yeah, so even if I find another Z and it won't be perfect, I think I'll be just driving it, and because I have a welded diff, so if I'm gonna get another Z, I'm just gonna swap the diff and we'll take it out. Drifting for the, I don't know, the closest drift band will be. Yeah, so I really don't know. I do like working on cars, and I do enjoy it. So maybe I'll have something like a project that I can just work on and have fun with it, and then a car that I can just beat on and don't care much about, that is reliable. You can just jump in and drift. And bear in mind, I'm not gonna compete or do it seriously, just something for fun. So even if it's just a low power car, it will be enough for, I think, a year or two just to get some basic skill and see what I'll need from the car, power-wise, suspension-wise, all that stuff. Because all the videos you see around, you're like, yes, I need the suspension, I need coilovers, I need LSD, I need handbrake, and you kind of invest a lot of stuff even before you like go on track for the first time. You might not like it at all. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm again digressing a little, but basically the channel will be going. I don't know when I'll be filming, because as I said, it will take a while to prepare the garage to get some tools back and find another car. If you have something budget, rear wheel drive, JDM, and you want to get rid of it, let me know, I might pick it up. Yeah, again, when I repair my garage, I'm gonna buy fire extinguishers, fire blankets, everything. Even if I won't be working on the cars, I'm gonna buy a fire extinguisher just for the house, just to have it around. And as I said, you can't be too safe in these situations. The fire can happen anytime. I was welding, yes, my responsibility totally. And you might say, yeah, you're not a welder, you didn't know what you were doing. Agree. But fire can start anytime. We live in the houses that are full of appliances, and anything can catch fire. You can have a short, and having a fire extinguisher in the house, in my opinion, is a must-have. And yeah, probably I'm being a little bit paranoid now, but yeah, I don't know what to add. Once again, thankfully that no one was hurt. The damage was to the minimum. The car is just a car, it's a replaceable thing. House is fine. It could have been way much worse. Yeah, just be careful, guys, and good luck with your projects, good luck with your anything, whatever you're doing. Enjoy what you're doing, and just be careful, be sensible about stuff that you do yourself, and hopefully you'll never experience anything like that in your life. Yeah, thanks for watching this, me just talking to the camera. I felt like I had to explain myself and have a constant reminder to myself whenever I'll be about to start working on anything like that again. I'll go back to this video, I'll rewatch it again, and we'll be like, yeah, I need to think twice and be sure that I've taken into account anything or everything actually. So anyway, thanks for staying around, thanks for subscribing, thank you. I know the channel is small and just a handful of subscribers, a handful of people who are watching it, but I do appreciate your time, your comments, your likes, your everything, seriously. And Jay, you're an awesome guy. Hopefully we'll drift someday together. Yeah, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Take care, guys.